How can science help us to understand our habits, create new ones, and change bad habits such as smoking with a simple formula anyone can use? In the early 90s, researchers at MIT did a series of experiments to understand habits. They placed rats in a simple T-shaped maze with chocolate at one end. When a loud click sounded, the rats were let loose and began sniffing out the chocolate. The researchers noticed that the rats' brains exploded with activity as they slowly searched the maze. As the experiment was repeated hundreds of times, a series of changes slowly emerged. The rats started to move through the maze quicker and quicker, and at the same time their brain activity decreased. As the rat started to learn where the chocolate would be, it no longer had to choose which way to turn, and so the decision-making centres of the brain went quiet. After a while, the brain structures related to memory became less active, as the rat had internalised how to get to the chocolate to such an extent that it hardly had to think at all. The process in which the brain converts a series of actions into an automatic routine is called chunking, and is vital to how habits are formed. The brain does this to save itself effort, so that it can be used for more important things. However, it's important for the brain to know when it can use habits or when it needs to be more alert. To do this, it relies on a cue. When the rat is placed in a maze, it doesn't know where it is. There could be a predator waiting outside ready to pounce. But when it hears the familiar click sound and the maze is opened, it knows that it can go into automatic mode and use the "find the delicious chocolate" habit. If, however, instead of the click sound it hears a meow, it knows to use a different habit. This process is known as the habit loop. First there is a cue, letting our brains know which habit to use and to go into automatic mode. Then comes the routine. And finally, the reward, which tells our brains whether a particular habit loop is worth remembering. Over time, the habit loop becomes more and more automatic. So if habits are simply a matter of creating a cue, completing a routine, and then getting a reward, why then is it so difficult to create a new habit and stick to that New Year's resolution to eat healthier or exercise more? The reason why it can be so difficult is because to make the cues and rewards work, craving is required. To explain this, we can look at the work of neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz, who conducted a series of experiments to understand how rewards work on a neurochemical level. A monkey was placed in a room in front of a computer monitor. Whenever shapes appeared on the screen, the monkey was taught to pull a lever which would release a drop of blackberry juice down a tube and into his mouth. Schultz monitored the activity of the monkey's brain as it carried out the activity. Predictably, whenever the blackberry juice was released, the monkey's brain activity would spike, suggesting that he was experiencing pleasure. The experiment was repeated again and again until a habit was formed. However, as the experiment was repeated and the habit became stronger, Schultz noticed something unexpected. The monkey's brain began anticipating the blackberry juice. When the shapes appeared on the screen, brain activity spiked as though the monkey was experiencing pleasure before any juice had been released. In other words, the cue of seeing the shapes on the screen produced a craving for the juice. This is what makes habits so powerful and why it can be so difficult to create new habits such as exercising more or stop bad habits such as smoking. It's not enough to simply create a cue, routine and reward loop such as putting your running shoes out ready for the morning, going for a run, feeling good from the endorphin rush and sense of achievement. You need to repeat the loop enough times so that you start craving those good feelings you get after exercising, otherwise the habit won't stick. So how can we change an existing habit that we don't want anymore, such as reaching for that unhealthy mid-morning snack? As habits never really disappear, we have to keep the existing cue and reward, but insert a new routine. We can change almost any behaviour if we follow this formula. First, we must work out what the cues and rewards are. So, if you want to stop snacking at work, ask yourself what the reward is that you are looking for. Is it to satisfy your hunger, or is it because you're bored and are looking for a distraction? If you are simply looking for a brief diversion, replace the old routine with a new one which will achieve the same reward, such as going for a quick walk or having a chat with a colleague. Although this method of changing the routine has proven to be effective, who will often fail when the stresses of life get too much. This is why people who have previously quit smoking will start again when life gets too demanding. Researchers have found that replacement habits only become durable in times of difficulty when belief is involved. For a habit to permanently change, you have to believe that change is possible, and most often, that belief only emerges with the help of a like-minded group, community, or in some cases, simply a supportive friend. It's not easy to create new habits or change existing ones, but by understanding how habits work and using the support of a community who share your goals, you can greatly increase the odds of succeeding. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the science behind habits, then check out the book The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg by clicking the link down in the description. To help support this channel, you can subscribe by clicking here, and watch my previous video about the marshmallow test by clicking here. See you next time.